Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, my dear viewers. Welcome back to my channel. As we have requested for the Middle Eastern updates of 2026, the conflicts have since been rising. Since it's the seventh day of the war has been escalated to a wide regional tension, from wide regional tension to an international uprising in the stock prices of oil and increase in the gold and silver commodities. There has been a very fluctuations in the market. Now let us get some important updates from the Middle Eastern conflict. So here we are having a live updates from the Middle East. It's 6th March 26 when we are recording this. So according to the live data from UN and CENTCOM sources, we have got out that at least 1,230 people were killed in Iran. Almost all of them were civilians, including some armored persons were also there. 28 were killed in Israel, according to some retaliatory strikes done by the Iran, and 6 US service members were also killed during a drone attack in Kuwait's port Shaiba. All of this have led to wide range of nature of human rights in the UN conferences as warned by the UN. It has been asking for the peace in the Middle Eastern region since the happening of all these conflicts in the Middle East. Now we shall move towards the Irish Denner 75 ice sinking effect by an US torpedo. Since 1945, US has not used torpedoes to sink the battleships, but after the 1945, in 2026 they have again used a torpedo to sink down a Irish Denner 75 ship, an Iranian ship which was coming from a peaceful exercise in India, that was at the Milan event, multinational level exercise which was conducted along the coastlines of Visakhapatnam. Now here we have to see that the Irish Denner 75, when it was attacked, it was in the international waters, and according to the UN Charter of Atlantic Depository, any ship or any type of sailor's boat in the international waters cannot be attacked or cannot be bombed according to the sources. Now, according to the UN Charter of Mandate, any ship which is in the international water cannot be attacked until and unless it is an act of self-defense or as retaliatory against the enemy ship. Now, in both the scenarios we are looking here, nothing was happening at that time. The Irish Denner 75 frigate was returning back to its homeland Iran, and it was in between killed in the international waters by the US submarines. Now among this, at least 83 sailors were killed, and all of this conflict happened in near the Gale port in Sri Lanka, which was 40 nautical miles away from the position of actual attack, and many of the sailors are still missing from this point. Now we were talking about the oil. So the oil barrel prices, due to the closure of Strait of Hormuz, all the oil refinery processes in the Middle East have halted. So the oil prices, which are relatively $72 per day, and during this time of the year, have now rise to $84.13, and we are also getting the news that dozen of the oil refineries are now closed and have stopped the refining process in the Middle East. For example, we are having the data from the official reports. It says that the oil refineries, including Ras Tanura in Saudi Arabia, Baku Refinery in Bahrain, Ras Laffan in Qatar, Haifa in Israel, Leviathan and Tamar in offshore Israel, Ramallah oil field and Kurdish oil field in Iraq have stopped operation under unforeseen conditions. Because of all of this, the oil refinery process has stopped, and the oil prices have now hitting hikes in the global markets. Now we have to understand that the oil prices have a direct impact on the industrial processes, logistics, and all other interconnected webs of the economy. Now, as I had promised in the before video, that we will come up with the topic of Strait of Hormuz in this video. So I had came with the history of Strait of Hormuz. Now I am here having a map of Middle East. See, if you can see from your screens, this is Saudi Arabia, this is Iran, and this small strait which you can see, this small chokepoint, it is one of the most busiest naval traffic of the whole world. 1/5 of the oil trade, that is 20% of the oil trade and 25% of the LNG, liquefied natural gas, passes from here. Now, as we can see that this strait is 167 kilometers long and varies in width with range 33 kilometers to 96 kilometers, with a minimum depth of 39 kilometers at some points. Now, the word Hormuz comes from the Persian word Hormuz, means date palms, and it also stems its history from the Zoroastrian god Hormuz, Zoroastrian deity Ahura, which means the deity of wisdom. Now, as you can see that the Strait of Hormuz is having Persian Gulf in its northern part and Gulf of Oman in its southern part. This small strait acts as the only opening channel which connects the Persian Gulf with the Arabian Sea, with the main ocean stream. So without this, without Strait of Hormuz, the whole transportation of the oil and the liquefied natural gas is stopped. Now, it is not the first time the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. From centuries, Strait of Hormuz has remained a very strategic, important part. Before that, from centuries before, Strait of Hormuz has been used for the Chinese silk trade, Indian textiles, and ivory. After that, Portuguese had dominance here in the 15th century, 16th century. Then British, French, and Dutch also eventually came and had their dominance in this region. Now, particularly, this region lies within the Middle Eastern powers, and currently the power conflict is going on between Iran and Saudi Arabia for the oil resources in this fellow region. Now, during 2007 to 2008 and 2023, there were certain conflicts between Iran and Iraq on resources and territorial disputes. Due to this, they had stopped the oil resources importing and importing trade from this strait. Here, the US started the program Operation Prime Mantis, which made the navigation of the ships easy for the free trade. Now, as we are seeing that the Strait of Hormuz has been informally closed by the IRGC, so to find for an alternative option for the Strait of Hormuz is the prime responsibility of the nations which are currently dependent on this oil, as 50 to 60% of the Far East Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia are dependent on this oil. So our next video's topic will be how countries like India, China, and Japan can counterattack this by having strategic oil reserves and other sources of oil import. Thank you for with me. Thank you.